think I stopped living a while ago. I just didn't notice when. Maybe it was during my 3-hour commute to a dead-end job I didn't care about. Maybe it was when the dishes started piling up, or my days off and holidays were spent on nothing but scrolling through social media and brain rot. It wasn't one big moment, just a slow, quiet surrender that somehow felt normal. I think I knew deep down that something was off. It wasn't until I stumbled across Welcome to the NHK that I encountered this feeling in its rawest form. And at first, it felt easy to laugh at the protagonist's spiral, to treat his misery as entertainment. But for me, the laughter died quickly, because beneath the jokes and the conspiracy theories, I saw something else, a reflection. Welcome to the NHK isn't a story about laziness or having a sucky life. It is an anatomy of being stuck, a perfect portrayal of a life that keeps moving on paper, but feels frozen in place. This is Sato's apartment, where the story begins and in many ways never leaves. The apartment is more than just a setting. It is a subject that evokes everything without a single word spoken. And this is where the anime, I think, really differentiates itself from the manga, and in my opinion, transcends it. This isn't a knock on Tatsuhiko Takamoto's manga. His story is sharp, raw, and deeply human. But under the direction of Yusuke Yamamoto, the anime adaptation of Welcome to the NHK transforms into a masterclass of environmental storytelling. From the very first episode, we aren't simply introduced to Sato, we sink into his world. His tiny 4x6 apartment feels less like a setting and more like a map of hesitation, every corner charting a decision put off for tomorrow. Yamamoto's camera lingers where most directors will cut, holding onto still frames of silence and clutter until they start to feel alive. Each time Sato is shown doing something, watching television, scrolling through his computer, lying motionless on the table, it's never just the action by itself. The environment is a participant. The camera deliberately frames the cluttered desk, the bags of trash, the clothes hung over him that takes up such a large portion of his room. His world doesn't revolve around him, it absorbs him. Every object in that space, the walls, the air, the endless hum, conspires gently to keep him still. And each time Sato is shown, we feel just a little more of his desperation and his quiet surrender. The way his movements shrink, the way light and shadow divide the room, the way he hides inside a space that seems to be collapsing in slow motion. All of it communicates a kind of wordless exhaustion. This is the world of Sato, his life of stuckness, his life of a hikikomori. 20 minutes in, Yamamoto's environmental storytelling has masterfully immersed us in Sato's world, the world of Welcome to the NHK. If you felt behind, you might be familiar of how Sato is depicted throughout the show. Shame, avoidance, relief, more shame. You feel you're not who you should be, but you dodge the feeling. Sleep in, stay inside, scroll. Relief trickles in, then drains away, heavier than before because another day slipped past. There is no supervillain required. The engine runs on your own thoughts. But Sato builds a villain anyway. The NHK, a make-believe organization that manufactures hikikomori, which is someone who withdraws almost entirely from social life, avoiding school, work, or meaningful interaction, and remains shut in their home. The idea is ridiculous and merciful. If you're fighting back against an unstoppable, unknown force that did this to you, then you weren't the one who failed, you were captured. The show peels that comfort back. Under the conspiracy board is a mirror, and under the mirror is a person who needs a different story. Across this short 24-episode run, the series surrounds Sato of characters who each embody a different version of that same struggle. Hitomi, his college senpai, looks like a functioning adult, but is secretly falling apart. She relies on tranquilizers and conspiracy theories to cope with the anxiety of a life that feels empty. Yamakaze, his neighbor and best friend, is a social outcast who funnels his anger into creating an erotic game. He uses this dream to ignore his isolation, convinced it's the only way to finally prove his worth. Megumi, the former class president, is a high achiever who hit a wall, now buried in a pyramid scheme that, while caring for her shunned brother, she's a reminder of how quickly the pressure to succeed can lead to collapse. Each of them orbits Sato's world, offering the illusion of progress, the comfort of shared failure, and the sense that maybe struggle is just what living feels like. And then, of course, there's Misaki. When she first appears, she feels like a disruption to the stillness, an idealized savior sent to solve the puzzle of Sato's life. But as the camera lingers, that illusion begins to rot. Misaki isn't reaching down from solid ground. She's simply drowning at a different depth. Her contract isn't an act of charity. It is a bargain with fate. If Sato's brand of being stuck is inaction, Misaki's is indispensability. She's terrified of a world where she isn't needed, because to her, being unnecessary is the same as not existing. She doesn't want to fix Sato so he can leave. She wants to fix him just enough so that he stays tethered to her. So when Sato initially refuses to sign her contract,
どうして佐藤君にはもう私しかいないんだよ。これにサインしないとずっと一人ぼっちなんだよ。ダメだ!
She isn't really warning him. She's begging the universe not to confirm what she already fears, that if she isn't needed, she disappears. That's why her relationship with Sato feels so suffocating and so gentle at the same time. Neither of them is manipulating the other. They're just scared of being alone, of being unnecessary, of being forgotten. Yamamoto even frames this visually. When they share a scene, a pillar sits between them. One might be slightly out of frame, or a table sits between them and separates them physically. The balance always slightly off. She isn't free just because she goes outside. She's trapped in a different way, by the belief that her only value is measured in someone else's dependence. Towards the end, the story looks over the edge. No swelling music, no cinematic rebirth, just the smallest possible decision. When NHK comes back from that brink, it chooses a quieter kind of courage. Recovery isn't treated as redemption, but upkeep. The camera lingers on what other stories skip. Blinds opening, a shower, a return call, a walk to the corner, one application sent, a stumble on Thursday and another try on Monday. It looks like nothing. And that's why it feels honest. Real progress is quiet. It almost never makes a montage. If you've never lived this, welcome to the NHK might read as bleak. If you have, it scans as strangely tender. At least it was for me. No humiliation, no fairy dust. Avoidance kept you safe until it didn't. Conspiracy felt kinder than blame until it didn't. Relief felt like an answer until it didn't. The series insists that leaving isn't a miracle, it is a craft. Small, repetitive, unglamorous. We rarely celebrate the first glass of water, the first step outside after 3 days, just waking up today and showing up to work. But we should. That's plot, that's character, that's life resuming at 1 frame per second. Welcome to the NHK knows how people get stuck, and it respects the unshowy courage it takes to stay. With the world, with yourself, with the noise and the mess. Not a cure, perhaps a companion. And sometimes that's enough to make it to the morning. If this met you where you are, I suggest to try starting small. Open the blinds, drink water, step outside for 2 minutes and feel the air. Then rest. Tomorrow can decide about tomorrow. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and would like to see more like this, please consider liking the video and subscribing. It's been so long since I uploaded anything, so I wanted to start with a story that felt personal. And Welcome to the NHK feels less like a story I watched and more like a period of my life I lived through. It's rare to find a show that captures the texture of stuckness so perfectly, so I hope I did it justice here. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.